Good morning, good morning. I am State Representative Stephanie Thomas. I represent Norwalk, Wilson, and Westport, and I am so pleased to be here today to celebrate 21 Norwalk nonprofits who applied for and received grant funding from Connecticut Humanities. Over $740,000 will flow into Norwalk through this grant, so I am so grateful for that opportunity. And the nonprofit sector is near and dear to my heart, and this type of unrestricted funding is an essential tool for organizations that often face restrictions from donors on how they can use their donations. These operating support grants can literally help keep the lights on, pay for a job posting, pay for professional development, or any number of things to help institutions keep their doors open during this challenging time. But the reason I called everyone here today is also this is an example of how government works. Since 1995, the General Assembly has provided funding to Connecticut Humanities to support these types of grants. And although my colleagues and I are very engaged in our communities and we vote to support these measures, we can't possibly know everyone. And all too often, if an organization is small or the staff is stretched too thin, they never find out about these opportunities. So when this year's funding was released, I sent an email to David Green, who knows everybody in the art space, but I also sent it to people I've met at community events, and this is where Kimberly comes in. We met each other once, very briefly, but she gave me her card, and I kept it. And after receiving the email that the funding was about to be released, I emailed Kimberly and encouraged her to apply. And she did, and she followed up with me after the fact to let me know that she had submitted the request and also when she received it. And these are little things, but they all add up into making our community better and making sure that all the money that we fight to secure in Hartford actually trickles down where it's needed. So I'm very happy to be joined by my colleagues today, without whom this funding would not be possible. So I will bring them up to speak, and I will start with Senator Duff, who needs no introduction. There's no stronger advocate for Norwalk.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here on this not so great weather day, but otherwise it's really a great celebration. I am so excited to be here. I want to thank Representative Thomas for organizing, Representative Nathan for being here, Mayor Rilling, because and all of you who are part of our cultural community here in Norwalk and surrounding areas, because this is really what makes our community so great. This is why people move here, this is why they stay here, this is why they raise their families here, because we have such great cultural institutions in our communities. And as Representative Thomas said, some are very small. Some are larger, some have been here for a long time, some people may not even know about, but they still have a very deep impact. And so I'm just so thrilled that so many organizations in our community, and thanks to your emailing and your cajoling and everything else, have gotten more people to apply for these funds. I'll just mention that before I was majority leader, I was on the Appropriations Committee, and the subcommittee I chaired was based on arts and culture and helping fund the humanities, and so I got to learn a lot about what they did, because before that I was like, what's the Connecticut Humanities? And so you learn, as a legislator, you learn about all these various groups, and then you try and do your best to plug in where people can actually receive some grant money. And it was my job to kind of be, I always viewed myself as a mother hen on funding, because sometimes people wanted to take funding from there and put it someplace else. We're like, no. Thankfully this year our fiscal picture has changed a little bit, so we're able to actually put in some decent funds and make sure that other organizations got funding as well. So thank you, Representative Thomas, for your work on that. Representative Nathan is the House Vice Chair of the Appropriations Committee, so key to ensuring that funding was there for these organizations so that people could apply for it. So again, I'm just so thrilled that that so many organizations have done this. David, thank you for your work with the Cultural Alliance and the umbrella organization. Really means a lot, and helping to get more people involved as well. I think that really matters. So again, thanks everybody. I'm so glad. Congratulations to all your grants. I'm sure you're gonna do great stuff with it, and it is now my pleasure to introduce Representative Lucy Dathan.
Thank you very much, Senator Duff, and thank you, Representative Thomas, for pulling this together, and thank you to Senator Duff for really shepherding along the funding and really making sure that we do great things for Norwalk. It's wonderful to see the mayor here. He's very much the cheerleader of all these wonderful organizations that, as Senator Duff put, are really such an asset to our town. Thank you to David. You've done an amazing job really getting the awareness of what all these wonderful organizations do for our communities, especially here in Norwalk. And I have loved to sit on the DECD subcommittee for the last 2 sessions, looking forward to it again this year, and really making sure that we support. I'm delighted to be here today at the Center for Contemporary Printmaking, and I was really pleased to see that they won, or they were awarded $30,200. This may not sound like a lot of money, but as Representative Thomas said, these are really important funds that do a lot. This organization does so much to support, preserve, and advance the art of very original prints. And this has been an artistic staple in Norwalk for over 25 years. This organization offers internships and scholarships to many, and this grant money will be instrumental in ensuring that the Center for Contemporary Printmaking continues to share the art of original prints and offers opportunities to aspiring artists all over Norwalk and beyond. So thank you for everything you do. Thank you for all these other organizations, but it's wonderful to be here today. This is my first time here, and I really got to learn a little bit more about what you all do. So thank you very much, and without further ado, I'd like to hear from our mayor.
Thank you, Representative Dathan. Thank you, Representative Thomas, and certainly Senate Majority Leader Bob Duff. If you don't know by now, our legislative delegation brings so much money into the city of Norwalk. And as mayor, that's critically important to me because we can't do everything. We put together a budget and we try to do everything we possibly can. But these funds that will be spread wide throughout the city of Norwalk will keep the doors open, keep the lights on. These are very difficult times right now, and people need diversion. People need exposure to the arts. People need these kinds of things that can help them use their creativity, maybe take their minds off some of the things that are going on. So at a critical time, we're getting these funds here in Norwalk, and it's just, to me, it's just overwhelming. So again, thank you to our legislative delegation. And without further ado, I'll introduce David Green. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you very much for inviting me here today. As most of you know, the Cultural Alliance of Fairfield County is a regional cultural networking, marketing, and support nonprofit, serving the artists and cultural organizations of 15 towns across coastal Fairfield County. It's over 550 individual members, organizations, and artists. We're, of course, thrilled and very thankful to the state legislature, the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development, Connecticut Humanities, and the Connecticut Office of the Arts that work very closely with Connecticut Humanities in creating and distributing the Connecticut Cultural Fund. As has been said, over $16 million was distributed across the state to some 630 organizations, a wonderful distribution of funds. 111 of those were in our 15-town area of coastal Fairfield County, and as you heard, 21 of these, receiving a total of over $500,000, were Norwalk organizations. As we all know, arts and culture is an industry. It's an economic driver of state, regional, and local economies. So these grants for operating expenses to keep the doors open are a very wise and savvy investment in this industry, and we will see returns. More thanks to all of our state legislators, especially Senator Duff, Representative Lucy Dathan, and Stephanie Thomas, who is right behind me, to DECD, David Lamont, Liz Shapiro, and Jason Mancini. Before I close, I did want to ask you all just to take a moment and reflect on the fact that 6 of the 21 recipients of these grants are right here in Matthews Park. Not only ourselves, the Cultural Alliance, but also CCP, Creative Connections, Stepping Stones Museum for Children, Lockwood Matthews Mansion Museum, and just across the road, brand new Norwalk Art Space. We have here a wonderful cultural centre. We could say a cultural district. And I think many of us hope that the Norwalk City Council might be interested in passing cultural district legislation, recognizing this and other areas of Norwalk as cultural and tourism destinations that pull people off I-95 to celebrate places that bring joy, bringing the magic of the arts and science to children, connecting children around the world through the arts, fostering a love for history and architecture in children and adults at the Lockwood Matthews Mansion, from Norwalk and beyond, enabling artists and the public to explore hands-on printmaking right here, and engaging with local artists and musicians, teaching high schoolers and sharing their art at the Norwalk Art Space. All in all, this is a celebration of Norwalk, its rich cultural life and its values, something worthy of an investment. Now I'd like to introduce my good friend, colleague, and neighbor, Julie Henriksen.
Thank you, David. And I thank Representative Thomas and the Norwalk delegation for joining us here today. Founded in 1995, the Center for Contemporary Printmaking is the only nonprofit, publicly accessible fine art printmaking facility of its kind between New York and Boston, with highly respected museum quality exhibitions, an artist residency program, and diverse instructional workshop opportunities. I want to express my sincerest thanks to the members of the Connecticut State Legislature for providing the funding to the Connecticut DECD and Connecticut Office of the Arts, such that Connecticut Humanities could make this award possible for our organization and others like us through the state. Receiving this award, the Connecticut Cultural Fund Operating Support Grant, is amazing and strengthens the foundation for our organization, not only during such an unsettling time as we have been experiencing these 2 years, but such funding helps to maintain the programs and partnerships we have developed and allows us to expand into new projects within our community. This spring, CCP will be working with other Norwalk-based nonprofit organizations on a newly designed project called Press Out Hate, during which we will host printmaking sessions for members of these groups, culminating in a public exhibition, open house, and hands-on printmaking event date here in May. Art making cultivates new and different ways of expressing oneself, communicating needs and experiences to others, and can amplify marginalized voices. Printmaking historically has provided a platform for creating and distributing messages broadly into the public sphere, and at CCP, we want to encourage everyone both to speak and to listen. As I'm sure many of the organizations receiving these funds can attest, we don't do what we do to turn a profit. We do what we do to enrich the lives of the people in our community, often at low or no cost. Operational funding like this ensures that we can exist, paying our Eversource bills, or maintenance costs, or wages for a dedicated and skilled group of staff. Our organizations may be nonprofits in the arts and culture sector, but we staff the same sorts of roles that one would find within so many other types of organizations. Skilled technicians, facilities and operations roles, office management, communications, they are all critical to the services we provide in our community, and we could not function without them. Again, I am grateful these funds were made available and that such commitment exists for us here in our state. Thank you for any and all efforts you and your colleagues made in support of nonprofits doing work in the arts and humanities. It enriches all of our life experiences and expands knowledge and cultural appreciation throughout our city, state, and broader region. And now I'd like to introduce Representative Thomas once again.
Kimberly, that project sounds amazing, and I forget now who said it, but yes, let's pull more people off I-95 to stop at these great I just want to take a moment to recognize, beyond the people who are here today from this cultural district that I do know some people are working hard on, also receiving grants, the American Chamber Orchestra, the Crystal Theater, East Coast Contemporary Ballet Company, Historic Rowayton, the Music Theater of Connecticut, Norwalk Historical Society, Norwalk International Cultural Exchange, Norwalk Preservation Trust, Norwalk Seaport Association, Norwalk Symphony Orchestra, Rowayton Arts Center, Southern Connecticut Camerata, the Maritime Aquarium, the Norwalk Youth Symphony, the Thomas, no relation, Ortiz Dance, and the Wall Street Theater. So just a round of applause. Amazing arts and culture organizations in our city. So thank you again to Senator Duff, Representative Dathan, the entire Norwalk delegation, Mayor Rilling, David Green, really, for creating a cohesive body that we can all liaise with to educate all of Norwalk about the great institutions. And thank you all for being here today. Thank you. Sure. Yeah, please introduce yourself and say.
Okay, great. Hi there, I'm Carolyn Knott with Stepping Stones Museum for Children, and I do want to thank you all very much for including us in this wonderful funding. We're proud to be a part of all these organizations who are so dedicated to our community. So thank you.
I'm Alan Steckler, the president of Creative Connections. Thank you all for providing such important funding at this time. And we connect young people around the world through the arts, through art and theater exchanges, and through live video conferencing. We're probably in about 20 different countries right now, and probably 80 different classrooms right now in Connecticut and beyond. And your funding is keeping us going and allowing us to reach classes that couldn't afford to give us any fees to make this possible. So thank you so much. It's so important.
I just wanted to say a quick thank you specifically to David, because while we are still waiting for our 501c3 to be approved, and so David acted as our fiscal sponsor for the district. And who are you? What organization? Sorry. Katie Sullivan from the Norwalk Arts Space. I'm the gallery and events manager. And we received our grant because David told us all about this and showed us how to do the process. We never knew any of that because we just started up in June, and we're just lucky to have, be surrounded by all kinds of people that are helping us along our new journey. So thank you.
You want to come up, Susie? Let's talk about the mansion.
Hi, I'm Susie Gilmore, and I'm the director of the Lockwood Matthews Mansion Museum. I would like to thank everyone here for really making it possible. These funds will keep our doors open during these very uncertain times, and also allow to reach out to communities that are underserved and where we can offer low or free admissions. Anyway, thank you again, and this is such an important funding, and we certainly will put it to good use.
Thank you.
Sorry. Truly, I do want to thank David Green. But if you look at the group of us that are here and thinking about this Norwalk Matthews space like arts and culture district, you are the most amazing connector of people and putting events together and letting us know what is going on. Like I can look at you all and I know you. Like we're neighbors, but that wouldn't necessarily be the case. And I've just really appreciated, especially during these last 2 years, even the Zoom meetings, like everything that helps keep that connection together, that glue that makes us work together and support each other. Like the community is really, really important. So, didn't want to